The Galaxy Council space station floated in perfect silence above a blue star, a place where thousands of species met to talk, negotiate, and keep peace. Today was supposed to be simple. They were waiting for humans. A young species. Emotional. Loud. Weak. At least, that was what the galaxy believed. Many council members joked about it. They expected a small ship, maybe 1 or 2 diplomats, nothing more. No one felt any danger. Inside the Grand Chamber, Ambassador Relvok of the Varen checked the schedule again. Humans were late. Their signal should have arrived an hour ago. He tapped his claws on the table, annoyed but relaxed. Around him, representatives from different worlds spoke in calm voices. The air was peaceful, almost too peaceful. Then the floor vibrated. It was soft at first, like a distant rumble. Most ignored it. The vibrations grew stronger, turning into a deep metallic hum. The sound moved through the walls, the tables, even the water tanks holding aquatic delegates. Creatures inside splashed nervously. The entire council chamber slowly fell silent. Relvok frowned. Is someone operating heavy machinery? No one replied. The vibration worsened. A warning light flickered above them. Council security officers looked at each other, confused. Space outside the station was normally quiet, empty, predictable. Nothing this large should be close enough to shake them. Then the long-range scanner screens lit up with red alerts. Object approaching, a technician shouted. Mass size, unknown. Signature, unknown. Speed, controlled. Relvok leaned forward. Show it. The chamber lights dimmed as a huge hologram projected into the air. At first, everyone thought it was a glitch. The shape was so large the scanner struggled to outline it. A long shadow filled the projection, wide like a mountain, tall like a tower, and moving with slow, deliberate purpose. Gasps and clicks echoed across the room. That cannot be a ship. It is too big. Is it a moon fragment? The technician's voice shook. No, it is artificial. A warship, I think. The entire council froze. A warship? Arriving on the same day the humans were expected? Relvok swallowed hard. Identify the species. Trying. System cannot read the material. Hold on. A smaller alert blinked under the massive display. Signature matched. Species, human. The room erupted in confused voices. Humans? Sending this? For diplomacy? Every species had prepared for polite greetings, cultural gifts, smiles, and maybe some awkward misunderstandings. No one prepared for a weapon big enough to crush a fleet. Outside the station, the shadow grew darker as something blocked the star. Council windows dimmed automatically to protect the delegates' eyes. Beasts with 4 hearts shook in fear. Insectoid species clattered their mandibles. Even the cold-blooded elites felt their skin tighten. Another alarm sounded. More objects incoming. Everyone turned to the window. More shapes appeared. Not 1 ship. Not 2. 5. 5 gigantic dreadnoughts sliding into the system like silent predators. No weapons fired. No threats made. They just floated forward in perfect formation. Relvok whispered, "Are humans invading?" But the dreadnoughts did not move like invaders. They moved like guardians. Worn hulls, heavy scars, burn marks from battles fought too recently. Some plates were missing. Some armor was half melted. Whatever these ships fought, it had not been easy. A single transmission request blinked on the council screen. Only 1 line of text. Request docking clearance. Everyone stared. No voice. No greeting. No explanation. Relvok forced his voice to stay firm. Accept it. The station dock trembled as the first dreadnought connected. The airlock hissed open. Council guards raised their weapons but kept shaking hands. Heavy footsteps echoed through the metal corridor long before anyone appeared. Each step sounded like it belonged to someone wearing armor meant for war, not diplomacy. Then the human commander stepped into view. He was tall, broad, covered in dark combat armor that reflected the station lights. His helmet was shaped like a predator's skull, but he carried no visible weapon. He moved calmly enough to scare everyone watching. Many species believed humans were soft. This one looked anything but soft. His visor slid open with a sharp click, showing human eyes, cold, focused, and tired. Not angry. Not hostile. Just tired, as if he had seen things others could not imagine. He walked to the center of the chamber. Every alien in the room stepped back. Instinct told them to. The commander stopped, placed a metal device on the table, and finally spoke with a low, steady voice. "We come in peace." Nobody believed him. Not after seeing those dreadnoughts. Not after seeing the scars on them. The commander paused, studying their fear. Then he added, "For now." A wave of tension rolled through the room. Relvok's throat tightened. What is the meaning of this? The human turned the device on. A blue hologram expanded. Shapes appeared inside it. Creatures with too many limbs. Black swarms. Planets burning. Ships torn apart. Screams frozen in time. The chamber filled with gasps and horrified cries. "This," the commander said, "is what we met on the way here." The hologram flickered to the final image. A creature the size of a station, with a mouth that opened like a collapsing star. "We are not here to negotiate," the human continued. "We are here to warn you." The lights flickered across the chamber as if the station itself felt fear. And then the human added one last thing. "They are coming." The council chamber remained in stunned silence long after the human commander's words. "They are coming." The phrase repeated in the minds of every delegate like a drumbeat. Every species had legends of monsters beyond known space, but no one had expected to see evidence, and certainly not humans arriving with dreadnoughts to warn them. Ambassador Relvok's claws tapped nervously against the table. He tried to speak, to find some rational explanation. "What do you mean, they are coming? Where are they? How?" His voice trailed off, swallowed by the fear in the room. The human commander did not answer immediately. He activated another hologram, smaller this time, showing charts, star maps, and lines tracing movements across multiple galaxies. "Our scouts encountered them near the void edge," he said. "They are fast, intelligent, and relentless. We fought to contain them, but—" he shook his head slightly. "We cannot stop them alone." The council members looked at each other in disbelief. They had armies, fleets, technology that spanned centuries, and yet these humans, so underestimated, arrived with massive ships that no one had believed a young species could build. And now they warned of something worse. Relvok finally managed to find his voice. "Why send dreadnoughts? Why not a message? Diplomats. A simple warning." The commander's gaze swept the room. "Because a message is too slow. Because we know the galaxy doubts our strength. We wanted you to see, to understand. Sometimes, showing is faster than telling." The hologram shifted, displaying images of battles in uncharted systems. Human dreadnoughts against enormous, shadowy creatures, some with multiple appendages, others seemingly armored in energy fields. Each image flickered briefly before another replaced it. Smoke, fire, torn ships, and creatures with glowing eyes filled the display. Council members whispered among themselves. Some were angry, some terrified, and some simply stunned. "These humans," one whispered. "They fight like gods." The human commander continued. "We intercepted one of their advance fleets. It would have reached your sectors in weeks. We slowed them, but only temporarily. You must prepare. Your armies will not hold them alone." A young alien delegate stepped forward, trembling. Why did you come here for diplomacy? Why not attack first?" The human's eyes were steady. "Because we believe some of you can still choose to survive. But you must act. We cannot protect every world. Only enough to buy time. That is why we came with Dreadnoughts, to show that humans do not negotiate with weakness. We act. We survive. Another alarm sounded in the chamber. This time, it was a warning from the outer station sensors. Movement. Something approaching faster than the human Dreadnoughts. Council members looked at the windows. In the distance, faint blurs of motion streaked through space. Shadows bigger than moons, moving with terrifying speed. The human ships aligned automatically, forming a defensive perimeter. The human commander turned back to the council. They will arrive within hours. You have time to prepare, but not much. We can guide, we can protect, but you must make choices. Every world, every fleet, every life depends on what you do now. Silence filled the chamber again. Fear and disbelief mixed with awe. The council realized something terrifying. The humans were not there to negotiate, not there to follow galactic protocol, and not there to seek allies. They were there to survive, and to force others to face a threat that had been ignored for too long. Relvok swallowed hard. He felt the weight of responsibility pressing down like a star collapsing into a black hole. We must call a session of the High Council immediately, he said, his voice trembling. Every fleet, every defense system, now. The human commander's gaze softened, just slightly. We will help. But understand this, humanity does not beg. We act. And we will act again. Are you ready to act with us, or will you wait to die? The delegates exchanged nervous glances. Some species had fought wars across their stars, survived countless enemies, and yet now they questioned themselves before humans who had never before been part of the Galactic Council. Relvok turned to the room. Prepare for the arrival. Alert all fleets. Strengthen your defenses. Humanity has come, not as diplomats, but as dreadnoughts. And they bring a warning none of us can ignore. Outside, the shadows of approaching creatures grew larger, closer. The station trembled slightly with each movement, and the humans' dreadnoughts remained steady, calm, ready. The galaxy had underestimated humans once. Now, it had no choice but to watch, and hope that the young species' warning was true, that they could survive what was coming. And somewhere deep in the void, the creatures moved faster, hungrier, unstoppable, and entirely unaware that humanity, the species the galaxy mocked, had already come prepared. The human commander looked to the council one last time. The time has come, he said simply. Decide. Survive. The lights flickered. Outside, the approaching shadows loomed. The galaxy's peaceful illusion was over. And the humans, with their dreadnoughts, were ready. The alarm klaxons screamed across the council station, a sound no species had ever heard before. Every creature froze, whether flying, crawling, or hovering. The shadows outside the windows were no longer distant. They filled the void, moving faster than any known ship, their shapes alien and terrifying. The council members had no words. Their fleets, their weapons, their centuries of experience meant nothing against what approached. Relvok's claws shook as he gripped the edge of the table. How can we fight that? He whispered. Even as he spoke, he knew the answer. They could barely try, and hope was thin. The human commander did not panic. He moved among the council, his footsteps heavy and calm. Watch them closely, he said. They are fast, yes, but predictable in patterns. We have studied them. Every predator has a rhythm. Every swarm has a weakness. A young ambassador, trembling, asked, "And you? You will fight them. With ease." His voice broke as he gestured toward the dreadnoughts. The commander did not smile. "We have already fought. And we have survived. Our ships, our crews, they are prepared for the worst. We cannot hold them forever, but we can hold them long enough for you to learn how to act. And some of you will." Outside, the first of the creatures struck. A massive appendage, glowing with energy, hit one of the outer shields. The station shuddered violently. Council members screamed. Alarm panels flashed. Warning lights turned red. The shields bent under the impact, groaning like tortured metal. The human dreadnoughts moved in perfect unison. Their engines flared, creating barriers of energy and gravity around the station. They absorbed the strikes, their massive frames unyielding. The council watched in awe. This young species, long underestimated, was holding back what seemed impossible. The human commander activated a communication array. His voice, calm and commanding, echoed through the chamber and into the station-wide speakers. Council fleets, prepare to follow. We will show you the way. Observe and learn. Act only when you are ready. Hesitation means death. Across the station, alien crews scrambled to their control panels. Some species were paralyzed by fear, others struggled to organize a response. The humans' confidence was contagious. Slowly, panic turned into action. Orders were shouted, fleets scrambled, and weapons aligned toward the threat. Relvok took a deep breath. He realized that the galaxy had misjudged humanity completely. This species, young and supposedly weak, had arrived not with diplomats and polite words, but with living proof of their strength. They were teachers, warning the galaxy in the only language it would understand: power. A massive creature struck again, smashing an outer defense satellite to pieces. The human commander's dreadnoughts moved instantly, intercepting the strike with a calculated countermaneuver. Sparks and energy cascaded across space. The alien delegates watched, unable to look away. It was not just a fight, it was a demonstration of skill, strategy, and discipline beyond anything the galaxy had expected. Then a smaller creature detached from the main group, heading directly for the council station. Alarms screamed. The station shook. Diplomats fell to the floor. Relvok's heart pounded. The human commander raised his hand. Energy beams from the dreadnoughts fired in perfect timing. The creature was slowed, pushed back, forced to retreat. Council members gasped. Their voices were filled with disbelief and awe. The commander turned to the council again. This is not a game. We are here to survive, and to teach you how to survive. Your fleets, your weapons, your plans, they are nothing without understanding what you face. Humanity knows survival, and we will show you. Outside, the shadows of more creatures loomed, larger and faster than before. The galaxy's peaceful illusions had been shattered. The humans, young as they were, had arrived not as diplomats, but as guardians, warriors, and teachers. They held the line, and the galaxy watched in silent terror and awe. Relvok whispered to himself, almost in disbelief. They are humans. The commander's voice cut through the chamber again, calm and commanding. Prepare yourselves. Observe. Learn. Act. The creatures are coming faster, and your choices will determine who survives. For the first time, the council understood, diplomacy, words, and traditions were useless here. Only action, courage, and learning from humanity could save them. And humanity, with its dreadnoughts, would not fail. The void outside shimmered with approaching danger. The station trembled, but the human dreadnoughts remained firm. The galaxy's future rested in their hands, and the lesson had begun. The human commander's voice echoed once more, low and unwavering. This is only the beginning. Watch, learn, and survive, or be forgotten. The council had barely recovered from the first wave of attacks when the next threat arrived. Shadows faster and larger than the first set streaked across the void, twisting like serpents, their movements erratic but lethal. The station's shields flickered under repeated strikes, alarms screaming in every corner. Panic threatened to consume the delegates, but the human commander remained steady, moving through the chamber as if the chaos was mere background noise. Focus, he said, his voice calm but carrying authority. Watch carefully. Every strike has a rhythm. Every movement can be predicted. Study them, or die. Outside, the human dreadnoughts formed a tight defensive formation, their engines glowing with controlled fury. They intercepted the incoming creatures with precision no one had seen before. Each movement of the dreadnoughts seemed calculated, each counterstrike measured. The creatures struck with overwhelming force, yet the humans held. A young Varan officer pointed at the screen, disbelief etched across his features. How can they move like that? They are so fast, yet they anticipate every attack. The commander's visor reflected the flickering energy outside. We have trained for this. Humanity does not rely on luck. We observe, adapt, and strike with intent. Watch carefully. Learn quickly. Relvok swallowed hard. The room's tension was almost unbearable. Every species present had fought wars, faced disasters, and survived catastrophes, yet none had seen anything like this. Humans had arrived, not for diplomacy, but to teach the galaxy what real power looked like, and how fragile life was without it. Suddenly, one of the creatures broke through a gap in the shields. It was massive, its black form glistening with energy spikes. The station trembled violently, sending delegates to the floor. The human dreadnoughts moved instantly, colliding with the creature in a display of raw force. Sparks, energy arcs, and metal groaned under the impact. Council members gasped, some screaming, others frozen in disbelief. They are stopping it, an insectoid delegate whispered. The commander's hand hovered over a control panel. A beam of concentrated energy shot from the dreadnoughts, slicing through the creature's limbs with precision. The alien shrieked, recoiled, and retreated into the void. Silence followed, broken only by the station's warning sirens slowly fading. Relvok realized something profound. Humanity's strength was not only in their ships or weapons but in their understanding of strategy, of survival, of foresight. They acted with purpose, clarity, and discipline. They were not reckless, emotional beings as the galaxy believed. They were warriors, teachers, and guardians. The commander turned to the council, his voice calm but resonant. This is only a glimpse. The main wave is still coming. Your fleets must act. Observe, coordinate, and trust what you see. Hesitation will cost lives. A younger alien delegate, trembling, asked, Why do you help us? Why not leave us to face this alone? The commander's eyes met theirs, unwavering. Because we have been where you are. We have faced creatures beyond imagination. We learned to survive. Some of you still can. We are here to give you that chance. Outside, the remaining shadows twisted and shifted, preparing for the next assault. The galaxy's illusion of peace had shattered. The humans, underestimated and mocked, had arrived not as diplomats but as protectors, demonstrating the difference between words and action. Relvok felt a strange mix of fear and awe. Humanity's presence had forced the Council to confront a truth they had ignored for centuries. Survival depended not on treaties or traditions but on courage, intelligence, and strength. The commander's voice echoed once more across the chamber. Your time is limited. Watch. Learn. Adapt. The universe does not wait, and neither will they. The creatures struck again. The station shook, but the humans remained steady, relentless, and precise. The galaxy had been warned. The lesson had begun. And humanity, with its dreadnoughts, would not allow it to be forgotten. The next wave of the creatures moved faster than anyone expected. Their forms twisted and shimmered, almost intangible, yet their strikes hit the station with crushing force. Alarms screamed, and the chamber shook violently. Delegates clung to whatever surfaces they could, while some species screamed in terror. The Council had faced threats before, but nothing like this. Nothing like the relentless, precise force that humanity had brought to their side. The human commander did not flinch. His eyes scanned the displays, tracking every creature, every movement. Predict, he said calmly. Adapt. Strike. His voice was steady, authoritative, cutting through panic like a blade. This is how you survive. Outside, the dreadnoughts moved as one. They struck creatures with overwhelming force, yet never wasted energy. Each maneuver was precise, calculated. The aliens watched, horrified and awed. These humans, once thought weak, were teaching them a lesson in survival, strategy, and raw power. Relvok tapped nervously on the table, struggling to process what he was seeing. They are holding the line. Alone. And yet, the creatures keep coming. The commander's voice was calm as he responded. They will not stop. Neither can we. But we will buy time. Time for you to learn. Observe every move. Remember it. Hesitation will mean death. Suddenly, a massive creature broke through a section of the outer shields. The station shuddered, and sparks flew from the damaged panels. Delegates screamed as the alien behemoth pressed against the station, its limbs scraping across the hull. The human dreadnoughts reacted instantly. Energy beams lanced from their hulls, striking the creature with precision. Explosions lit up the void, and the alien reeled back, stunned but not defeated. The council could only stare, mouths agape, as humans demonstrated control over force that no other species had ever shown. A young ambassador whispered, shaking, How can they do this? They are just humans. The commander's visor reflected the chaos outside. Humans survive. That is our nature. Observe and learn. The next assault was more coordinated. The creatures seemed to anticipate the station's defenses, striking in patterns meant to overwhelm. But the human dreadnoughts moved with perfect timing, intercepting every strike. They protected the council station with a discipline that left even the oldest species in awe. Relvok felt a mixture of fear and admiration. The humans had arrived not as diplomats, not with polite gestures, but as warriors and teachers. They had shown the council what strength, strategy, and survival truly meant. The commander turned to the council, his tone calm but firm. This is your chance. Watch. Learn. Act. If you hesitate, you will be destroyed. Humanity has survived threats that would have ended other civilizations. You must do the same. Outside, the shadows of the creatures loomed larger, moving faster, striking harder. The council's fleet scrambled, following the humans' lead. Slowly, panic turned to focus. Slowly, fear turned to action. The human commander watched them, expression unreadable. The lesson is not over, he said. But you have begun to understand. Survival requires action, precision, and courage. The universe does not wait. Neither do they. The station trembled again as the creatures pressed their attack. Yet the human dreadnoughts remained firm, unyielding. The galaxy had underestimated humanity for the last time. The lesson had begun, and no one would forget it. Outside, the void shimmered with motion. Shadows twisted, massive and terrifying. Inside, humans and aliens worked together for the first time, united by the need to survive. Humanity had come not as diplomats, but as dreadnoughts, and the galaxy was finally learning why. The council station trembled again as more creatures surged through space, faster and more numerous than before. Their black, glimmering forms twisted and lashed out, striking shields and outer defense satellites. Delegates clung to consoles and each other, some pale, some trembling, some wide-eyed in awe. Chaos filled the chamber, but the human commander remained calm, moving among them like a shadow in light. Observe, he said, voice low and commanding. Every strike has purpose. Every movement can be countered. Watch closely. Outside, the human dreadnoughts shifted into tighter formation. Their engines flared with controlled energy, creating barriers of force that absorbed and redirected attacks. Each maneuver was precise, each response instantaneous. The creatures crashed into shields, recoiled, and adapted, but the humans anticipated every strike. Relvok's claws gripped the table. They are controlling the battlefield. Alone. He could not hide his awe. Every species had believed humans weak, emotional, unfit for war. Yet here they were, facing monsters that could destroy entire fleets and holding them back with calculated precision. One of the alien ambassadors finally spoke, voice trembling. How can one species be so prepared? The commander's visor reflected the chaos. Preparation, observation, adaptation. Survival is not luck. It is understanding. Watch, learn, act. A massive creature lunged at the station, breaking through a section of outer shields. The chamber shook violently. Delegates fell to the floor, screams echoing as the creature's limbs scraped across the hull. The human dreadnoughts intercepted it instantly, energy beams lancing from their hulls, striking with deadly precision. The creature recoiled, its form cracking under the assault, but it did not retreat completely. Relvok realized the truth: humanity's strength was more than weapons. It was strategy, coordination, and the ability to remain calm under impossible pressure. They had not come to negotiate. They had come to teach the galaxy how to survive. Another wave approached, more coordinated, more aggressive. Yet the humans remained unshaken. Each dreadnought moved in perfect synchrony, intercepting strikes, protecting the station, and demonstrating tactics that the Council had never seen. Alien fleets began to mimic the humans, following their lead, gaining confidence from their example. The commander turned to the Council, voice steady. "Your time to learn is now. Hesitation will mean death. Observe our actions, coordinate with your fleets, and understand that survival requires more than courage. It requires discipline, strategy, and the willingness to act decisively." The shadows outside twisted faster, stretching toward the station. The human dreadnoughts formed an impenetrable wall, holding back the creatures, giving the Council fleets time to organize and respond. Relvok could not believe it. Humanity, a species long underestimated, had arrived not as diplomats but as warriors, teachers, and guardians. Their presence had forced the galaxy to confront a simple truth: only action, strategy, and courage would ensure survival. The human commander's voice echoed through the chamber once more. "This is your lesson. Watch closely, adapt quickly, and act decisively. The universe does not wait. Neither do they." The creatures pressed their attack again, but the humans remained steady. Outside, the void shimmered with shadows and energy. The galaxy had been warned. The humans, with their dreadnoughts, were ready. And the Council would either learn, or be destroyed. The void outside the Council station pulsed with energy as the final wave of creatures approached. They moved faster, larger, and more coordinated than anything seen before. Alarms screamed across the station, lights flickered, and panic rippled through the delegates. Yet the human commander remained calm, scanning the battlefield with precision. "Focus," he said, voice low and firm. "Every movement counts. Every strike can be countered. Learn quickly. Act decisively." The human dreadnoughts shifted into a defensive perimeter around the station, engines glowing with controlled power. They intercepted each assault with flawless timing. Every beam, every maneuver was calculated, each one protecting the station and buying precious time. The Council members could barely comprehend what they were seeing. Relvok clutched the table, eyes wide. They are holding them off. Alone. And yet the creatures keep coming. The commander's visor reflected the chaos outside. "They will not stop. Neither can we alone. But you can survive if you act with clarity and courage. Observe. Learn. Adapt." A massive creature slammed into the outer shields, shaking the station violently. Delegates fell to the floor as sparks flew from damaged panels. The human dreadnoughts moved instantly, striking the creature with concentrated energy beams. The alien recoiled, stunned, and was forced to retreat. Relvok whispered, almost in disbelief, "They are humans." The commander turned to the Council. "This is your chance. Your fleets must coordinate, your weapons must strike in unison. Hesitation will cost worlds. Humanity survives because we act. Now, so must you." Outside, shadows twisted and surged, pressing against the station from all directions. Yet the human dreadnoughts remained steadfast, unyielding, and precise. Delegates, watching closely, began to understand the lesson being taught. Survival depended on courage, strategy, and swift action, not just diplomacy or words. Relvok finally raised his voice, trembling but determined. "All fleets, follow the humans' lead. Align your weapons. Protect the station. Act decisively." Alien fleets scrambled, taking cues from the humans' movements. Slowly, chaos gave way to coordination. Fear began to turn into focus. The council watched as humans, underestimated and mocked, became the guiding force that could hold back impossible threats. The commander's voice echoed one last time. The creatures are relentless. They will not wait. Neither should you. Learn quickly, act decisively, survive. Humanity is here, not to negotiate, but to ensure the galaxy survives. The station trembled with the next strike, but the dreadnoughts held firm. Outside, the shadows loomed, massive and terrifying, yet they faced a force the galaxy had never imagined. The council realized the truth. Diplomacy alone could not save them. Only action, courage, and the lessons humanity had brought could ensure survival. And humanity, with its dreadnoughts, would not fail. The void shimmered with approaching danger. The council fleets moved in formation, humans and aliens now acting as one. Survival depended on this moment, and humanity had made it clear. The time to act was now. The galaxy's future hung in the balance, and the humans had already set the standard. The human commander looked out at the void, calm and resolute. "This is only the beginning," he said. "Observe, learn, survive, or be forgotten." The shadows advanced. The lesson was real. The dreadnoughts were ready, and the galaxy would never underestimate humans again.